It's mid-November on Astarte Farm, and you could say this place is going to the birds and not be far off the mark. We are done with the regular crew hours, and with long nights of winter rapidly approaching, we can see and hear the geese headed south. We have finally had some hard frost to challenge the vegetative growth in the fields, but our winged rodent patrols are still using their sharp eyes to pick up any late-season tasty bits. I was impressed by the steadfastness of this particular red-tailed hawk at the top of a buffer zone tree. He was alert as I clattered across the field, flail mowing spent crops. Then I was startled to see it land so close to the tractor, and later realized that the clump of grass clippings in his claws were hiding his favorite lunch. This patch of winter rye cover crop was hardly fazed by last night's low temperatures, but the fading light of our winter sun can hardly produce any more top growth, and you can see how ready the rye is to lay down and blanket the soil with a protective green mulch. In our main pollinator patch, the first few passes with the flail mower have begun to reveal the survival rate of the small trees and bushes that form the backbone of this area. After 6 years of growth, we will try to cautiously mow under them to chop all the flower stalks into protective mulch. Some of those stalks will get loosely raked into a small windrow over the close-mown rows for a controlled burn in late winter. Hopefully that will help thin out the somewhat bullying sunflowers and allow the lower-growing flowering plants to provide more pollen diversity in the patch. We are also starting to see a lot of staghorn sumac up here, and we hope that the heavy mowing will set them back. This will be our second controlled burn in 6 years. The strawberries are just starting to get the edges of their leaves nipped by the cold, and after a few more hard frosts they will be ready to mulch over completely with straw. The spring kale is getting sweeter on these cold mornings, but at some point they will transition from being frost-kissed to freeze-smacked. Only the stalks will remain alive, waiting for the first warm weeks of springtime to sprout some of the most tender kale you can grow. This arugula should bounce back several times before the inevitable end of production. After that, their leaves and roots should provide enough protection to carry this bed through the winter and provide a decent planting bed for an early spring crop. This bed of oats, peas, and daikon radish has produced enough top growth to leave a well-mulched soil surface over winter. Underground, the diversity of root types will leave an excellent supply of nutrients and will contribute soil structure improvements as they slowly decay in place. Down by the asparagus patch, the annual ryegrass and clover mix has done a good job of suppressing weeds. We will most likely see more of this cover crop combo in coming years on the farm. And lastly, here is that same melancholy honking of geese flying south. This no-till farm can now start to take a huge inhalation, sequestering a substantial share of carbon in our soils to fuel next year's growth. Thanks for watching. Questions and comments are welcome. Catch you next time.